I'm Sean Fennessey.
I'm Amanda Dobbins.
And this is The Big Picture, a conversation show about Brad and George. Pitt and Clooney, that is. They have a new film, Wolves, that is now available on the Apple TV Plus streaming service. Do you have that service?
I do.
Oh, great. That's great. Have you seen the film?
I have.
How exciting. We're going to talk about it on the pod today. This is our last recording together for a little while.
It is.
It's not the last episode people will hear you on.
Yes. The next week, we pre-recorded Megalopolis.
Yes, we did.
Just to bring everyone on the inside, I briefly thought I was going into labor during that one. I think right around while Sean is talking about the conversation, it was on YouTube if you want to see that. But so far, no baby. So here we are again.
It's very exciting.
This is the very last one. Bobby got me coffee cake, which was very, very sweet, both literally and emotionally. So
You've been saying on and off mic, you were like, the coffee cake, gotta have it. Just want it.
And when I thought I was going into labor yesterday, as I said to you, I went home, I packed a bag, and I hadn't had time to pre-order the coffee cake that I am planning to take to the hospital. So it was like you knew, and you got me my coffee cake. But here we are.
This episode is sponsored by Coffee Cake.
It is. And a sugar high and a very strange energy.
Couple things I want to clear off the decks first before I have some announcements to make. One, the documentary series Mr. McMahon is now streaming on a different streaming service. It's on the Netflix streaming service. This is a 6-part documentary directed by the great Chris Smith that Ringer Films helped to produce. I'm very proud to be a part of this project.
For many.
Since 2018 is when I first got involved in this project. And I participated very little. I was just very happy to be a part of it in any way. I think it's really great, and it was very cool to watch someone like Chris and the people that he works with, especially his producers and editors who are amazing, do what they do. If you want to hear more about it, Bill Simmons talked at length with David Shoemaker about some of the production history of the series. Seems like it's doing well on Netflix. I hope people watch it.
I'm excited to watch it this weekend.
I think you will enjoy it, especially since you are not deeply entrenched in the world of professional wrestling. I think it's actually best if you come to it with a general knowledge, but not all of the arcana. So please enjoy. Second thing, there's a Rewatchables live show. I don't know if it's sold out yet, and if it is, I apologize for talking about it in this fashion, but we're doing a live show very soon.
When did the tickets go on sale?
Yesterday, they went on sale.
Okay, so are they on sale right now?
They're on sale right now.
I missed that.
You can go to your local ticket broker, which I think is Ticketmaster, but I'm honestly not sure. October 7th in New York City. I'll be there. Chris Ryan will be there. Bill Simmons will be there, of course. Mallory Rubin will also be there.
Oh, that's exciting.
So all 4 of us are doing a movie. I can't say which film, but it is October.
Okay. So, all right. That gives a little bit of a hint.
This show is happening at the Music Box Theater, which is on Broadway. So the Rewatchables is going to Broadway. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the history of the shows that have been performed at the Music Box Theater in its roughly 100 years. This is where Merrily We Roll Along debuted.
Wow. In like the 80s?
In the 30s.
Oh.
The original Merrily We Roll Along.
Sorry, excuse me.
This is where Wait Until Dark debuted. This is where Death Trap debuted. This is where in New York City, after its Washington, D.C. prep run, A Few Good Men debuted. This is where Dear Evan Hansen had a historic run.
Well, this
is a hallowed hall.
We went from the most important rewatchable source material of all time to Dear Evan Hansen, but that's fine.
We're doing our best.
I hope you're more of a Code Red situation than a Dear Evan Hansen situation.
I certainly hope so. Do you think Chris has some Dear Evan Hansen energy?
I know. That's even Chris isn't here to defend himself. Though I would love for Chris to come in and for us to try to explain the plot of Dear Evan Hansen to him.
That's something we can do in the future. Okay. Yeah. We should bring your child, too, just to make it a family affair. Speaking of Chris, he looked me in the eye and he tried to ask himself onto the show yesterday.
I actually meant to text to see if he's here, see if he could just, like, swoop in.
Too late. Sorry, CR. CR wanted to talk about the Sinners trailer.
Right.
This is the new film from Ryan Coogler.
Okay. So I want everyone to get ready because this is the last time for a little while that a trailer will be discussed here in an environment with 2 people and like a seeming sort of open space.
Well, why do you say that?
A very special trailer hut / monologue cave has been built especially for Sean Fennessey. And I almost want to make you do a debut on social media before I leave today just so I can experience it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Get ready for staring down the barrel, Sean.
The monologue hut will be coming soon. to a YouTube channel or a social media platform
I have
near you.
literally made requests for the knob that allows you to fast forward and rewind on trailers. And also I want a telestrator so that I can draw on the screen. I want the tablet where I can draw on the images. If I were to draw on the Sinners trailer, I would write, let's go. I'd like to see this film.
Yeah, it looks great. Let Ryan Coogler cook. It's nice for him to not be doing franchise stuff.
This is his first non-franchise movie in over 12 years. Fruitvale Station was his last film that was original. This is an original story as well. But after Creed and 2 Black Panther movies, I'm excited about this. Michael B. Jordan, of course, his longtime star partner, is the star of this movie. He plays twin brothers, which I know that's actually the thing Chris wanted to talk about, and I will let him cook on this at some point.
Sure.
He's got a lot of takes about single actors portraying brothers in movies.
Yeah.
So I'll hold the water on that one. Haley Steinfeld also in this movie, Jack O'Connell, Wunmi Mosaku, and my guy, Delroy Lindo, former guest of this show, one of my absolute favorite actors.
I will say, there's not a lot of talking in this trailer, but the accent, I noted it, and we can continue to discuss it as we hear more. But
you should consider developing Accent Corner.
I mean, that's a pretty established corner of the Ringer internet,
That's true.
you know, but I'm putting in my 2 cents if I paused.
Okay.
But when Michael B. Jordan is just walking towards the camera, shooting a shotgun, awesome.
His arms looked quite large.
Yes, they did.
Even by jacked MBJ standards, he looked big. The logline of this movie is quite strange. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Now, the thing is, we know that the greater evil is vampires. Do you feel like the trailer really indicated that this is a vampire movie in any way?
Well, there is a group of people gathering outside a structure late at night in a menacing way. So maybe...
Those men and women are just voters. They've just been in line all day. They're trying to register to vote.
Please register to vote, you guys, if you haven't yet.
It's your last chance to say that to the audience here today.
No, I don't think that's true because we pre-recorded an episode that's going to air on Election Day. I just want to apologize to everyone.
No, I will not apologize.
Everything.
No, there's no apology necessary.
It did feature a lot of stay in lines, so do stay in line.
If you're a vampire, stay in line so you can be slayed by Michael B. Jordan.
I guess it wasn't vampire specific.
It may not even be vampires, but I'm pretty sure it's vampires.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Do you know the other thing about this movie that is interesting to me is that eventually Michael B. Jordan will own this film. After a certain period of time, that was a big part of the negotiation. This is his first movie with Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers granted him the right to regain control.
To Michael B. Jordan and not Coogler.
No, to Coogler. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Coogler.
I was like, that's
Coogler and the Coogler estate.
Right, because he's been talking, like that's sort of been a talking point of his.
Yes, which I find is interesting. That's something we know Quentin Tarantino did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he took that movie to Sony. I personally am fascinated by filmmakers kind of grabbing control of their art in this way. We will talk about Megalopolis next week. That is another example. The film Horizon is another example. These artists own their work, and they are essentially licensing their work to be seen. Coogler's is a little different because it's a much longer stretch of time that Warner Brothers will own it. But nevertheless, I think that's a cool little wrinkle to the story of the making of Sinners. And God damn it, an original genre movie from a director who I know is great. What could be better?
Coming to you in March?
March 2025.
Okay.
So you'll be back.
I will. Oscars will be over.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love, that's such a relief. I fucking hate when I look at the March calendar and post Oscars and I'm like, what are we going to talk about here?
Right.
Like, do I really need to talk about Kraven the Hunter again? You know, like I don't want to do this anymore.
Is that still coming out in December?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
That'll be my Christmas Day movie. Me and Chris holding hands, crying, watching Kraven.
Christmas Day is pretty lit now because they dated The Brutalist.
They did.
December 20th. Your Nosferatu. Do you feel like...
Thank you for asking. I don't know what's going to be.
The Brutalist and Nosferatu are going to like split votes at the box office?
No, it's double feature time.
Okay.
It's 7 hours of the movies. What are you talking about? That's how we roll.
It's just like, I'd like your marriage to survive through the end of the year.
I'm good. I'm daytime screenings. That's getting me through.
Yeah, but 7 hours is...
Everybody worried about me. I'm good. In fact, I have so many responsibilities with my child.
That school is on break around that time. I just want you to be prepared for that personally.
Maybe I'll bring her to Nosferatu.
Okay. That was great.
Get her an introduction.
She's into Halloween.
She's very into Halloween.
Yeah.
There's a few other things happening on Christmas, actually. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Oh, wonderful.
Masterpiece. We've got Better Man, the Robbie Williams movie.
Oh, okay. He's a space dog?
Yeah, no, you got it. I'm not even going to correct you. You got it. He's a space dog. Robbie Williams, famed British pop star, is a space dog.
No, he's like is it a space monkey?
He's just a monkey. Okay. He's a digitally animated monkey. Okay. Moving on, we have a complete unknown.
But everything else is normal. It's just like
I don't think that's the case.
Monkey dancing like in Take That or whatever. Do they dance in Take That?
Yeah, well, you'll have plenty of time to figure that out when you're laid up. I encourage you during all your rest period to just watch Take That videos.
Just become like a really
a scholar.
Yeah, like 40 years later. Okay.
Complete unknown.
Sure.
That's Christmas Day.
Okay.
The Fire Inside, the boxing movie, Olympic boxing movie.
Oh, right.
We've got Mufasa, the Lion King.
It's been really quiet on that one since they debuted.
It sure has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This film's directed by Barry Jenkins.
I remember.
That's just remarkable. The Room Next Door.
Oh, sure.
The Almodovar movie. And that's all I've got.
Okay.
That's going to be a noisy 6-day corridor.
Is the question. Like, is there a hit in there? Or is it just a bunch of dads being like
Sonic.
Bob Dylan.
Sonic,
you know?
The Sonic movies do very well.
Sonic, and that's true for the children. And the Bob Dylan movies will do well with the dads.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll be upset.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
Good tweet going around that's just the substance, and it's a picture of Bob Dylan now, and then Timothy Chalamet, a complete unknown. Good job.
Seen it. That was a good job. I think that was David Ehrlich who did that tweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great job.
You want to talk about wolves?
Yeah, you're grumpy, huh? You sent me this outline, and it's just
okay. Let's
listen. It's fine.
I feel very strongly about this.
You went to see this movie. You went to the premiere.
I did
in Hollywood. Razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
I saw it at a surprisingly full 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday screening.
Okay.
At the iPic Pasadena.
Nice.
I would say like basically every seat was taken.
What'd you eat?
Sweet potato fries and a Diet Coke. It was awesome.
Good for you. So here's the thing. There were like 14 seats in an iPic, so I'm not sure what surprisingly full means.
At 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Was it only pregnant women?
No, it was me and people who receive discounts at most places they go to because of their age.
Got it.
Let's put it that
way. Okay. Well,
respectfully.
Let me tell you something about Wolves. It's written and directed by John Watts.
Yeah.
He spent the last decade making Spider-Man movies. He's made one other film, Cop Car, which is a pretty cool independent film starring Kevin Bacon. As I said, Clooney and Pitt back together. This is their 7th collaboration. Amy Ryan's also in this movie, and Austin Abrams. It's a very small cast. It's about 2 rival fixers. They cross paths when they're both called in to help cover up a prominent New York district attorney's wild night in a hotel gone wrong. Mm-hmm. So over one crazy night, they have to set aside those grievances and work together to figure out whatever the hell's going on.
I didn't write the movie. I didn't direct the movie. I didn't get any money from the movie.
I'm not saying that you did.
I didn't even get to meet Brad and George when my husband did. Like I'm here sitting at the table, having also seen the film.
I have some very concrete thoughts about this movie, but before I share them, what did you think of the movie Wolves?
No, I share what you thought because you sent me a text message after the premiere.
This movie stinks. This movie, like, not to Jay Sherman, this movie is so mediocre, it's appalling.
Okay.
Like, it's not bad. That's the problem. The problem is that it's nothing. It's nothing. It is tremendously talented people wasting their time. Which, come on. What? George Clooney and Brad Pitt know so much better than to make a movie like this. With a script this thin, with an idea this weak, with chemistry this kind of bungled.
Yeah, I don't
know what they were thinking. It's not the worst movie in the world. It's not a 0-star movie. It's just that George Clooney and Brad Pitt got together to make a big movie and they're on the poster together and it's nothing. It's kind of boring. You don't really ever know what the stakes are. And when we get to a big conclusive finale, it's a little bit confusing and then it ends.
Right. The problem is that the movie is for about 4 minutes at the very end.
Yes.
And then there's a funny music cue and they get their close-ups and it cuts out.
So what happened here?
I really don't know. I mean, I would agree with you that it is not particularly memorable. Again, I showed up. I had some lovely sweet potato fries and watched two of my favorite movie stars just like gallivanting around for a bit. I mean, they also could have been in a Casamigos commercial, you know, and I would have, and like
the movie feels like a commercial at times.
And I agree, visually, it is particularly dull.
Flat.
The chemistry is interesting. A thing I suggested is I wonder whether they should have switched parts.
It would have been interesting.
But Brad Pitt's sort of asleep.
Yes.
And then when he has to turn on, he doesn't turn on to the right frequency. I thought Clooney was perfectly charming.
He's fine, but his whole character is, what's this guy's fucking problem? That's the whole thing. That's the only acting he does in the movie. He has no other register.
Well, no one has a character. Not even the DA, who, I mean, you know, Amy Ryan, she's doing great.
I enjoyed her minimal appearance in the film, and I think maybe a movie just following her character would have been more interesting. What is this strange aspirant politician in New York doing, dragging this young man up into her hotel room? That was fascinating.
And then also being able to afford the penthouse of the luxury hotel as a candidate for DA? Or is she the DA and a candidate?
I think she's the DA and aspiring
else?
to governor or something else.
Got it.
Perhaps mayor, you know? Open.
Sure,
well,
yeah.
now that seat's open.
Yeah.
That's exciting for, well, this woman's got some skeletons in her closet as well, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work out.
Right.
I don't know how much we can or cannot spoil a movie like this, and I don't know how much longer I can talk about it, to be honest with you, because when I was sitting there, this is very similar to the Despicable Me 4 conversation we were having, where I was like, this is fine, but like it's a huge waste of everyone's time. Like it's just nothing. It's just Soma. It's just like a bland thing that you find and you're like, okay, this will pass the time. That's not what movies are for. That's not what this is about. Let's try a little harder. Like I know they're on the back nine.
I agree with you.
I'm not mad at you, and I'm not actually mad. I'm just like, I want more out of this stuff. You know, these guys,
if Brad Pitt and George Clooney are going to get together to make a film and promote it, which like they mostly have. They were on the cover of GQ. They showed up to Venice. They were, you know, dancing together. It was cute. I agree that I would like more than like 30 minutes per night shoot in like a weird hotel room.
How many takes do you think they did for each segment of this movie? I mean, come on.
They don't do any stunts.
No.
Right. So they just kind of stand there. Not that many setups.
I mean, I made a couple of notes about this because it bothers me, but I mean, it's a comedy really without jokes.
It's true. I didn't laugh very much.
It's a crime movie without any real crimes.
Why? Okay, spoilers.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, you can spoil something. Go ahead.
If you don't want to know anything about a movie about nothing starring Brad Pitt and George Clooney, currently available on Apple TV Plus, skip ahead. Why was the tracker in the drugs?
I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, there's some drugs. That's sort of a crime. Then there's like a little bit of a setup.
It's almost like it's a guy who's doing a crime for a friend filling in. Like it's just like even the crimes are like there's no there's no conspiracy here.
But like there is. It's just revealed in the last.
Okay, how about this?
Yeah.
It's a movie about fixers and they don't fix anything. The whole genius of Michael Clayton is sure he's in over his head.
Right.
But he's still able to be successful at the end of the movie. What are these guys fucking fix in this movie?
It is really tough that you watch large swaths of this movie where nothing happens, no one says anything, and you are just like thinking you're doing the I'm the janitor speech to yourself over and over again if you've seen it enough times.
Right.
And you're just like, well, this is not that, is it? At all.
And that is the risk that Clooney specifically is taking by taking this part, having the legacy of having one of the great movies in this mode ever made.
Right.
And, you know, I'm being such a brat about it because I know that they can do better. Like I know that the production companies that contributed to this movie can do better. I know that John Watts can do better.
Yeah.
So the idea of this being like a big fancy package. There's an interesting episode. I talked to Matt Bellany about this a little bit. Interesting episode that he's been doing recently about development and talent and, you know, what is happening in the state of movies. And that's long been an interest of mine too. And historically in the movie business, development executives and production executives are vilified. They're seen as like the bad actors. Mm-hmm. Bilja Abiri had a really good interview with Brian De Palma recently, and he talked about how executives were the ones who were making his life hard when he was trying to make his really cool and transgressive films. Nowadays, most movies are not developed at studios. They're packages. Wolf's is a package. Together, John Watts, this script, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, they all come together to Apple or to whoever bids on it and buys the movie. The movie doesn't then get developed inside the studio, or at least not in the same way that it would have 10, 15, 40 years ago.
Right. So there's no one kicking the tires being like, so what if you explained how any of these things came together?
Yes. And you've got all of these incredibly powerful people. You've got John Watts coming off a $1 billion Spider-Man movie that everybody liked. And you've got these two superstar movie actors. And nobody is like, guys, what is this? Why do you want to make this? What is this movie about? Like, and it's not that it is horrendous, because it's not horrendous, because their floor is higher than many people's ceilings. It's just when you know that there's so much more potential in a package like this, it actually makes you admire, weirdly, the bureaucracy of an olden Hollywood. And I started thinking about that. I was like, if you just like let 4 other people talk to these guys about how to make this movie.
Said like a PowerPoint man. But yes, I do understand your point. And as to put it another way, as Zach said, it's like when Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is a movie I actually like quite a bit, has like a better conspiracy exploration than this movie about the same setup, then you haven't done your job.
It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great.
But Mr. and Mrs. Smith is also good.
There is a part of me, though, that watching this, and I couldn't tell if this was John Watts and his experiences over the last 10 years, or if it's just more about like a particular mode of acting now, but the like, get a load of this guy, or like like someone says something and then someone repeats what they say and then make a sarcastic face after they say it. Like this MCU style of acting, where everyone is Robert Downey Jr., that this movie is riddled with that, where like the interplay between these two guys who like, we love these guys together when they're boys, like when they're Rusty and Danny.
When they're buddies, yeah.
That's great. When they're two guys who are like, this guy's a threat to me and he's annoying the shit out of me, but there's no real partnership until maybe the last 20 minutes. And even then, it's this very loosely formed idea.
The only time that I got emotional is at the end when they're like, spoiler alert, I guess, they're riding a subway and it's just like lingering close-ups on these two faces that I love very much coming together. And they're on the subway, and I was like, "Oh, it's my friends. That's really nice." And they're still very handsome.
I just think the movie is relying too much on that.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's 2 shots at the very end that are very good. Again, I think it's hard to be funny, and as always, Steven Soderbergh is incredibly under-respected in what he can get out of people.
It makes you really appreciate the Ocean's films, for sure. Which obviously we are huge admirers of in the first place, but. You I guess what can you get by with in your movie star charms is a movie that this question is a question that this movie asks. And for me, it wasn't a lot, which I found to be really disappointing.
I do think if you're at home just watching it on Apple TV while looking at your phone or doing whatever, you'll be like, okay, but what is the point of that for literally anyone involved? I guess including Apple. I mean, sure.
It's all about money. That's why I'm super cynical about this. This was for money, and that there's no idea in the film. There's not really any passion.
Yeah.
It's a job. It's a job just like the fixers would take on a job. They have no emotional commitment to the work, and I understand that many Hollywood productions don't have a lot of passion, deep spiritual passion. But if you're these guys in your 60s and you only have somewhere between 5 and 15 movies left, for something like this so dispensable to be one of them, it's a drag.
Well, I'm just reading into this, but do you think that this was part of a package for Pitt, at least?
Could have been
doing this to buy the extra time and money on F1, which is also an Apple financed movie and has been filming on location for longer than I've been pregnant.
It's absolutely possible. That seems smart.
The Clooney,
Well, Clooney spoke about this at Venice, right? Where he talked about this new era of the sort of post-TV streaming era, and this idea of kind of being an arms dealer for content and knowing that you have to use these places and these places have to use us. And I thought he was very thoughtful about it. He's such a great kind of ambassador to what is happening in the town and such a smart person about these things. But he's been making mediocre movies for like 15 years now, maybe more.
I mean, when we did the draft, It's more mediocre movies than good movies.
It is. And so that's incredibly frustrating. But like, I don't know, Plan B is like one of the best production companies in the last 50 years in Hollywood. And they're on this, they're all over this movie. Like they make amazing films.
Right.
So to me, this is just a case of like, it's a lark from two super rich movie stars. And it will surely make plenty of people's nights. I'm sure there's people listening to me that's like, Sean has lost the plot. This is a harmless movie. There's no reason to get bent out of shape about it.
I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people might be like, oh, wow, George Clooney and Brad Pitt made a movie together. And then they turn it on and they're like, what? This is what you guys... But the difference being that at least they'll turn it on because it's Brad Pitt and George Clooney, versus The Instigators, which is Wolf's Jr., which
very strange for that to have been
saw.
The prequel. Yeah, I mean, there's no Instigators conversation happening right now.
I haven't even like gotten text messages from people being like, I'm so mad that The Instigators was so bad.
I think I had more fun with that movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was very good.
It has more going on.
Yeah.
Not that any of it makes sense, but and also like goes outside. There are a couple car chases. This is the other thing, is this was like, managed within a second of these guys' lives. I was not joking when I think they probably spent 2 hours a day or night on set.
Let's spend a little time going through Apple original films right now.
I'm sure they're so thrilled.
No, I mean, I think they've done some amazing things, so I don't mind having this conversation. The thing is that there's ups and there's big downs with Apple, and it's relevant because they are making a good faith effort to get involved in the movie business, and they're trying to use the highest level talent, which I think is good, smart.
Mm-hmm.
They're acquiring package projects, which is very hard to do, like I explained. And so you get movies like, let's just go from 2023 forward.
Okay.
Here are the films that they released in 2023. Sharper, which was a Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan movie, which I kind of liked. Van Lathan and I talked about it on the 2023 episode. Actually, the kind of thing that I think Netflix is getting good at, but making more cheaply with no stars, which is just genre-y, past the time movies that have a lower overhead.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that movie was solid and felt like something that could have come out in 1997, but
a
little out of date. Tetris, I didn't think the Tetris movie worked at all. It was like a biodoc about the guy who
so boring,
acquired the rights to Tetris. Yeah.
Like
Taron Egerton?
Yeah. But it's him just being like, I would like to buy Tetris for 2 hours.
That wasn't great. Ghosted, I would describe as a catastrophe of a romantic comedy. Chris Evans and Ana de Armas. Genuinely bad.
But I mean, a total catastrophe. And one of the ones where it's like, they walk out of one scene and into another, and you're like, wait, what did you miss here? Like actual just editing and continuity issues. But also it was like the action setup part of it was really stupid. It's not just that they made a romantic comedy. They tried to do like an international intrigue romantic comedy.
It's from the guy who finished Bohemian Rhapsody, Dexter Fletcher, and made Rocket Man. And it's written by the teams that wrote Deadpool and the Captain America and Avengers movies.
That's on you. So look into your heart.
It's not on me. It's not on me. I watched it and I didn't like the movie. So it's not, I claim no responsibility for these men and their works. The Beanie Bubble.
I never watched this. Did you have Beanie Babies? Did Kara have Beanie Babies?
That sounds right. Yeah.
I mean, not to gender essentialize, but I mean, for a while there, it was like a financial opportunity, as discussed.
Were you a collector?
Bubble. I had some. My cousins were really into it, and like seemed to know something about like the market value of the various bears. And there was like a Jerry Garcia Beanie Baby that I think was worth a fair amount of money.
I think you're confusing that with the Grateful Dead Pogs.
No, I think there was. Hold on, let's Google this. Jerry Garcia Beanie Baby.
Was it the teddy bear? The tie-dye teddy bear?
Yeah, he was a tie-dye Beanie Baby. Yeah. Okay. Look. I do think that he was rare.
Can you buy one of those for me right now? Where are you at on Jerry and the Dead?
Jerry had the same birthday as me.
That's not a take. That's just a fact.
Well, I just wanted to share with you, but fellow Leo, so maybe you want to come in on that journey.
Jerry did have Leo energy too, didn't he?
Yeah.
A real leader, but like kind of obsessed with himself. Yeah.
That's
Jack
really
like that. Jack enjoyed that one. Okay, so you did have Beanie Babies. My sister did too. I never had them. The Beanie Bubble, kind of negligible.
Bobby, Jack, like, do you guys have any knowledge of the Beanie Baby?
Okay, I know all about Beanie Babies. Yeah, my older sister had a ton
of them. I just, sometimes I'm trying to bridge the generational divide, but you guys were around for that.
Yes, I was.
Okay. Great.
Okay, what about Flora and Son? Did you ever see this?
I didn't, because it involved like folk singing, right? And I was like, I can't do that to myself, even though I really do like Eve Hewson.
I do as well. This is John Carney.
She's really good in A Perfect
Sisters.
Couple. No, well, that
Perfect
too,
Couple,
but
yeah.
Perfect Couple, which I haven't finished yet. And everyone's talking about how bad Nicole Kidman's wig in that, but I just have to say that Eve Hewson's wig also was not budgeted for.
I also like Eve Hewson, but I would say Eve Hewson is my type.
Yeah.
That's something I feel comfortable saying.
Oh, and Jack Raynor's also in this. He's also in A Perfect Couple, or The Perfect Couple.
He's a real shitbag in Flora and Son.
He's also a shitbag in The Perfect Couple. That's what.
And in Midsummer as
well.
Yeah. Okay.
Does he sing, or does Joseph Gordon-Levitt sing?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a YouTube guitar teacher, and Eve Hewson gets lessons from him. That's a true story. I saw this film. It was all right. It wasn't that bad. It's very sincere. You know, when you watch a movie and you're like, God, this movie is really, really sincere.
But like, even I was not prepared for a YouTube guitar teacher. You know, that's
what I'll be doing in the monologue tent. I got to bring my acoustic in there.
What can you play on acoustic guitar? What's your repertoire?
All Along the Watchtower. Not a lot. I can play chords, but I'm not a very good guitarist.
I can't do it. Yeah. That's one of the ones I've never learned. I did once know how to play Closer to Fine.
Oh.
Because I don't think, like, they don't let white women from Atlanta like leave the 90s without learning that one, but I don't think that I could do it now.
Did you ever see the movie Fingernails, about how if you rip your fingernails off, you'll be able to determine whether or not you're really in love with your partner?
Remember this movie? Told me about this.
Yeah, it's a cracked movie. Christos Nikou, the Greek filmmaker.
Yeah.
Starring Jesse Buckley, and not a successful film. The Family Plan, never watched this one. This is one of many, many Mark Wahlberg streaming films.
Filmed between 4:30 and 7 a.m. before he got back to the whatever else he's doing.
He seems to be very happy. And then we have this incredible moment where Killers of the Flower Moon just shows up on the Apple Original Movies docket. And now, we had this news that Martin Scorsese's 2 next planned films are no longer going forward.
Right.
One of them was the Jesus Christ film. I can't recall what the other film was. Do you know what it was? It wasn't The Wager. It was something else. Sinatra, Frank Sinatra. Neither of those films are not going forward. And so people are now saying, is Killers of the Flower Moon going to be Marty's last movie? I mean, that would be an interesting way to go out. It's obviously a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
It sticks out a little bit here amongst the Beanie Bubble and Ghosted. Just a little bit. Apple does follow this up with Napoleon, which is a movie that I like. I
always liked it. I was out here from the beginning being like, this lamb chop was given to me by divine right. Okay?
That's right. Yeah.
So
Destiny has brought me to this lamb chop. That's one of the best lines of dialogue of 2023. I still haven't watched the director's cut. I will do it. I will do it in a quiet moment. And by moment, I mean 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Then Argyle.
That was tough.
Nightmare.
Yeah. It was really, really, really bad.
Genuinely a nightmare.
Dua Lipa was only in it for 2 minutes.
Then we've got Fancy Dance, which is the Sundance film that Erica Tremblay directed that stars Lily Gladstone, which was okay. I'm not going to pretend like it was some incredible achievement. It was not. Then Fly Me to the Moon, which we discussed on the show, which is just like a near miss kind of a movie where it was like, if this was the pilot to a TV show, I would totally understand it. But as a feature film, it didn't make any sense. Then The Instigators. Then Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And now the next 2 movies are going to be Blitz and F1.
Yeah.
This is a very chaotic series of films.
I mean, at some point they were like, what if we gave money to directors who know how to make stuff? Yeah, I mean, Martin Scorsese, Ridley Scott, Matthew Vaughn, I'm skipping right over.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Liman.
But Matthew Vaughn, until this moment, was basically a proven commodity.
Okay. Steve McQueen.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Kosinski.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So that Doug Liman, like the thing about this is, on paper, most of these make a ton of sense. And so the point I was trying to make was, just because this all looks right doesn't mean you're going to get something that is right. And even Killers of the Flower Moon, which you and I love, which Bobby loves, many people didn't like that movie.
Yeah.
And we got to be honest about that. So the Apple Original Films mandate is fascinating. It's hard to do this. And one of the reasons why
even when you have unlimited resources and seemingly no consequences.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's true that they continue to have no consequences.
The scuttlebutt was that they were reorganizing and pulling back on some of the approach that they had previously taken.
The consequences are coming.
Yes.
This is like this weekend I was just hid outside my son's room while I listened to Zach explain to him about consequences and for your actions. And I was like, wow, I don't want to be a part of this conversation, but I guess it's happening.
Can I let you know about something? That won't be the last time you'll have to hear it. I've given it more than a few times in my life.
But it was amazing. It was really like the first, like the first time. I'd like to explain something to you. They're called consequences for when you're being a shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it totally stuck with him, but it comes for everyone, I guess.
What was Zach's approach? Was he like, sometimes if you hire Nick Sirianni, it means that your organization will go downhill?
Listen, everyone listening to this right now, if you could at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, this coming Sunday, just send a thought to the Eagles and to me. I put Devontae
Smith on my bench on my fantasy team because it appears as though he's not playing and A.J. Brown is not playing. It's not good. It's not good.
I need to bring a child into a calm space, and we don't have the tools at home to make that happen. So it needs to happen outside the home.
You should try to give birth at the link. Just at the 50-yard line.
Maybe do you think they have those services? They have a jail. So
they certainly do. We know why they have a jail.
Yeah.
I guess there probably have been people giving birth at ball games before, or football games.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can happen pretty much anywhere,
That's true. The wonders of life. Is there anything else you want to say about the film Wolves?
I mean, I agree. It wasn't very good. Okay. I wasn't that mad, but
don't put in the paper that I'm mad. I'm here to just explain.
But I agree. Like everyone could better spend their time like making commercials for their various liquor and skincare enterprises. Though I guess George sold off Casamigos, so now he's just doing Nespresso. Those aren't going well.
Does he own any of Nespresso?
I don't think he owns it. He's just
doing the
in the advertisements.
Okay, I enjoy Nespresso.
And then Brad was doing like a different coffee, little K-cup situation for a while.
Well, we know Kevin Costner is aligned with Green Mountain.
Sure. Yeah. But no, I feel like George, they sold off the Casamigos for a lot of money.
He and Randy Gerber.
Yeah, but these trucks still have George and Randy on them.
I get trucks?
so excited. Yeah, the Casamigos trucks.
Never seen it.
Every couple weeks I see one, and it's
you get excited seeing a truck.
Well, because it's like 2012 George Clooney and Randy Gerber, which by the way they do look slightly different than they do now.
Oh.
Just
that comes for us all as well.
Around. I think they're on motorcycles often, just being like, the good life.
This imagery is on the truck?
Yes. How have you never seen this? And also their signatures feature prominently on the Casamigos label and on the truck.
Okay.
You'll see them everywhere.
Next time I see it, I'm going to take a photo of it and have it tattooed on my back.
Okay. But I'm just like, in some ways, that is better content than what Wolf's is. But like, what are you going to do?
You can not watch Wolves. You can watch these other movies that I'm going to tell you about.
Okay. Oh, great.
There are some other films that you could go see or that you could watch from the confines of your own home.
Yeah.
Shall I tell you about them?
Please do.
I mentioned The Wild Robot to you already. When did we talk about this? Was it in the context of the big Oscar bet? I think it was.
We both picked it to win animated feature.
I've seen it.
That's awesome.
I liked it.
I'm so glad.
It's based on the Peter Brown novel. Lupita Nyong'o.
Novel?
A novel. It's based on a novel. This is no picture book. This is some real book learning.
Okay.
This is for the real heads who like to put sentences together into paragraphs, and then they form stories and chapters.
Allow me to read the description that you've written.
Please
here.
do.
Shipwrecked on a deserted island. How is it? Desert or deserted?
Deserted.
Okay. A robot named Roz must learn to adapt to its new surroundings. Building relationships with the native animals, Roz soon develops a parental bond with an orphaned gosling.
This was pulled from Rotten Tomatoes, so I did not write that.
I got to orphaned gosling, and then
you didn't think that was my style. That wasn't
in my
voice.
I was like, okay.
What's wrong with the orphaned Gosling?
I mean, I don't want it to be orphaned, and I'm happy it forms a bond with a robot.
But imagine this. It's not just about mothers that are biological. There can be mothers that are something more than that.
I deeply believe that.
Yes.
And also, I don't know if I need to see the animated film adapted from the adult novel.
Well, it's not a novel for adults. It's a novel for children. Like this is like Nabokov's Pale Fire about a robot.
All right, the Wild Robot book. Okay, let's do like a page count. Are there any drawings? Oh yeah, well, okay, so it's a series. I see. So it's like YA sort of.
It is. It's more for like 9-year-olds, I would say.
Okay, juvenile fiction is apparently a genre.
There you go.
According
juvenile
to
fiction.
Okay. Well, I like it when kids read.
The reason to see this movie is that it is incredibly beautiful. It's one of the most gorgeous looking animated movies, especially mainstream studio animated movies of the year, certainly, and even in recent time, in my opinion. Chris Sanders, who worked on it, he's the co-director of How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, the Disney movie from the 2000s. One of the best animation directors around. This is a very good movie. It's a very good family movie. I hope people go see it. You're not going to go see it because you don't think Gosling should be orphaned?
I haven't come down on robots as parental stand-ins yet. I haven't done my AI research on
Meaning
that.
you may allow it.
You know what? I'd want to do the work before I opine.
Yeah. You're really going to be missed here. I got to tell you. I don't know what we're going to do.
You'll just be in the monologue tent with your robot.
I have so many robot takes. Another movie that is on Netflix this weekend, maybe after you watch Mr. McMahon, you can watch Will and Harper. This is the documentary that I talked about that first played at Sundance and then at Telluride. Will Ferrell and Harper Steele, his friend, they met at SNL. They later co-wrote a couple of movies together, including Eurovision for Netflix. Steele reached out to Ferrell during COVID-19 and informed him that Harper was transitioning to a woman, and they set out on having a road trip together.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie is this interesting series of dialogues. I thought the movie was actually at its most interesting when no one was talking. They're sort of like sitting in a car together, like thinking about something that had just happened. You very rarely see movies take those moments. Kind of like that quiet moment in the subway between George and Brad that you were talking about. But it has this weird dynamic where it's kind of like My Dinner with Andre. It's kind of like Wings of Desire. It's kind of like Easy Rider. It's all of these different kinds of movies. It's sort of a travelogue, though you're not really too worried about where they are at any given time. Sometimes they're talking very specifically about their friends from Saturday Night Live or things that they had worked on together. And other times they're talking about not just Harper transitioning, but sort of the big ideas of being alive. I thought it was a very nice movie. I think a lot of people are going to like it.
Yeah, it got a rapturous response at Sundance.
It did.
And I'm excited. It's now available, so I'm excited to watch it.
There's something in the closing credits that I absolutely loved.
Okay.
That I won't spoil.
Great.
But it's more my flavor than your flavor is what I'll say.
I mean, that could mean any number of things, including an orphaned Gosling, so.
Well, I won't spoil it for you. Let's talk quickly about His Three Daughters.
Okay.
This is another movie on Netflix. Came out last week. I think, did we both have Carrie Coon?
We picked Carrie Coon, though. Now I'm wondering if there's an Elizabeth Olsen wave as well.
Is that a fact?
Supporting, but that might just be my algorithm.
Okay.
And a lot of people being like Elizabeth Olsen stans, which I get.
This movie is a drama. I believe it was picked up out of Toronto last year in 23. Written and directed by Azazel Jacobs. Another in a kind of series of movies about families in close quarters experiencing complicated moments in their lives. In this particular case, it's about three sisters who don't all share the same mother, but Carrie Coon, Natasha Lyonne, and Elizabeth Olsen. And their father is at the end of his life, and he's in hospice at his New York apartment. Natasha Lyonne's character lives in this apartment. The other two sisters come in from out of town to spend time with him in his kind of final days. And these three women are very different. They see the world very differently. They communicate very differently. Very intense movie.
Yeah.
I will say if you've lost a parent, this is a very interesting, especially if you've lost a parent and not suddenly, this is a very interesting text when you, I have a big extended family. So when I lost a parent, it wasn't quite like this, but the energy that the people are communicating is very recognizable. Where everyone is desperate to seem in control at a time when there is no control to be had. Where you're you are at God's whim. There's nothing else to do. So I really liked it at that. It's a movie that is like kind of annoying, and I feel like a little bit on purpose.
Yeah, well, there's a choice that is made that seems pretty clearly to be like in the direction and then in the editing of honestly just like the style of performance and the delivery of the movie, which, you know, is 3 people talking about their feelings in a one closed space. So there are play aspects to it for sure. There's a theater quality.
It's very Edward Albee.
But the way that like, and there are many monologues.
Yeah.
And the way that the monologues are both performed and shot is like a real choice. Yeah. And so I took a long time to get into the actual like rhythm of the movie because it was, to your point, like probably purposefully a little
Carrie Coon's character is deeply unlikable on purpose for sure.
But it's not even, it has nothing to do with unlikability. For me, I was like very aware of the choice. Like from 15 seconds in, and I was like, oh, is this how this is going to go? And so it takes a little while to get into just like the style in which they are speaking to each other.
Yeah. I thought it was ultimately successful. It's another movie that has a fascinating kind of conclusive act that I don't want to spoil for people who haven't seen it yet. But that's on Netflix right now too. And then the last movie I'd like to speak to you about.
Oh, yeah. Please go ahead.
I neglected to tip off that I have an interview with Josh Cooley coming right after this segment. He's the director of Transformers 1. Transformers 1 is an animated Transformers movie. I'm 42 years old. I'm in a leadership position here at Spotify. Sure. I'm a father.
Congratulations on all of those achievements.
I'm a sibling. I'm a man.
Yeah, and you love Transformers.
I like Transformers. You know, what can I say? I'll see every Transformers movie.
Are Transformers robots?
They are, though I'm glad you asked, because there is certainly, I thought about including Transformers 1 in our body horror conversation because there's something kind of horrifying about
Say more.
What the Transformers do and are maybe fated to do, the ways in which they transform.
Because they transform into humans? I thought they were just machines. And it's
they are machines, and yet
a bulldozer can become...
But they have ancient traditions and souls.
Okay.
So they are really more of just a metallic species. They're not really robots. There's something else.
Okay.
There's a kind of life force in them.
Right.
That we can't overlook.
Is it like how like math is like the universal language and something?
It is not like that at all, but I appreciate you trying to relate to me.
It's the basis of engineering, which is how machines get made.
There's no math in Transformers 1.
Well, that I
promise.
know.
There's
no math in anything having to do with Transformers, but
this film takes place on Cybertron. That's the Transformers' home planet.
Okay.
This is an origin movie. It's a prequel.
So it's how the Transformers came to be?
Not just the Transformers, but the key characters, Optimus Prime and Megatron, his arch nemesis.
What is Optimus Prime doing when he's not Optimus Prime? What does he transform from?
Well, in the film, we learned that he started out as a miner.
Like a human miner?
No, a Transformer miner.
So
a robot miner.
Okay, but like, so is
that like
a...
I'm with you. No.
Yes. No, so is that like...
He's the proletariat. This is literally a movie about class.
That's cool. I'm just trying to stay with you. Okay, but so as a miner, is he like a mining machine? Or is he like a transformer-shaped like miner, you know? Doing the work?
The answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
He is one of thousands of
Transformers, as I understand them, are somewhat anthropomorphized, right? Like they have robot.
They have hands. They have arms. They have legs.
They have hands.
Of course, they have hands.
I don't know. I know the arms.
How
did you
expect Optimus Prime to hold his giant sword?
I didn't know he had a sword. I thought it was primarily like a laser domain. You know, I have to be honest. Listen, I've seen a Transformer before. It's like a little machine, and then the arms kind of swivel like this. They do a little Pilates, and then
the noise of Transformers,
like a Lego block.
But that's not. You know? That's what you're doing is not accurate.
And the arms everything's perpendicular.
That's not right, but I'll let you keep going and doing dances because you're on birth's doorstep.
This is actually too fluid, you know? It would be more like, wah, 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 wah.
Wow. Well, it's time for you to go. Okay, Grandma. We got the wheelchair waiting for you.
We just speed ran from like Harlan County, USA in the Transformers universe to like Amanda doing Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto live on the pod in like 30 seconds. That was great stuff.
I'm trying to understand the physiognomy. How do you say that
Physiognomy.
Of a Transformer.
You can. It's a mystery. Okay. There's also like something that needs to go into their center.
Like a Iron Man thing?
Sort of, yeah. That allows them to transform effectively. This is a part of the plot of the film.
Is that like a naturally occurring source, or is it?
It is, but they're rare.
And is it only on
the key leaders? This is something that is explored as well. Well, but like,
where do you get the source? Where does the material come from?
Whole Foods.
Sorry that I'm asking questions about your interests.
Sorry, Erewhon. I meant Erewhon. No, this is I
would love to go to an Erewhon with you sometime. Somehow that's never
not really my thing.
Oh, I mean, it's not my thing either. It's a little too
expensive.
Well, I mean that, and then I'm just also like, I mean, did we really need to turn this plan into this many different things? You know?
Oh, that's your issue? My issue is like people who are desperately waiting to be seen in a grocery store. That's like, that makes me want to kill myself, honestly. I can't hang with that. That makes me want to go watch more Transformers movies.
I just like going to grocery stores, but I'm not trying to be seen. Sometimes I like to see what the wares are, you know? I find it very soothing.
What the wares are?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not against that. You know me in grocery stores. I don't really want to
you don't want to interact with
chat.
anyone or anything else.
I'll look at the wares.
But then the wares are just kind of like, you know, we found a grapefruit seed and turned it into this jelly for you. And I'm just like, well, I didn't need that, you know? And now it's $45. And you're not wearing the right kind of yoga pants. So
I always knew in my heart of hearts, even before I saw Wolves, that this would be a cursed episode. Like I knew.
What's cursed?
Yeah, we did okay. We did okay. Can I tell you one thing about Transformers 1 before we wrap this up?
I was asking questions.
You are asking questions.
I was trying to understand.
First of all, Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Fishburne, and John Hamm.
Happy for those people.
Those are the voice actors in this movie. First of all, why don't those people just get together to make a live action movie? That would be entertaining.
I mean, like Transformers related, or
that would be really funny if they just acted out their parts, like they did a table read for Transform. Well, that's not how they work. Okay. Teach up for that one. If you could be a Transformer, what vehicle would you turn into?
I mean, some sort of truck to impress my son.
Yeah.
You know, and
Optimus Prime is a big rig.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's great.
You know, but Knox is really into construction vehicles right now, so I'm like, bulldozer. Maybe,
there is a bulldozer.
You know,
can't recall his name.
Cement mixer, though that's louder than I like.
You personally would like your own vehicle that you transformed into to be quiet.
I mean, it can have the power for, you know.
Okay.
But I'd like to be in charge of it. The cement mixer just kind of keeps going and going.
What if I came over and I brought Knox like 1,000 Transformers toys? Do you think that would go over well?
You know that Chris and Phoebe did that, right?
They brought over Transformers?
No, they brought over a keyboard shaped like a cat.
Oh, yeah.
And when you leave it on, it just like meows occasionally to remind you that it's still on. And then it also only like the keyboard is cats being like meow, 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 meow. And they just brought that to our house. And now it lives in my house. Thanks, Chris.
Sometimes when we acquire a toy like that, I'll just throw it out in the middle of the night and pretend like it never existed.
We don't replace the batteries.
Oh, yeah,
and like Knox doesn't know that batteries are a thing that exists and can like be replaced, except for he does love music so much that we were guilted into replacing the batteries on the cat piano. Like it was dormant for 6 months, and now it was like we have to encourage his passion. So meow, 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 meow.
I will teach him. I will teach him the great word. I'll teach him Schubert on the meow keyboard.
Schubert's where you would start?
I don't know if it's a good starting place. I think it would be a nice place to go eventually.
Okay.
You like Schubert?
Yeah.
Of course.
I just thought that was an interesting, like pull out of the universe.
Yeah. Do you think Optimus Prime likes Schubert?
You would know better than
Can I spoil something for the movie for you?
Sure.
There's a moment when he becomes Optimus Prime, and I was like, I might cry right now. That's a true thing that happened. It was like a genuinely hair-raising. I was like, God damn it, movies.
Who voices Optimus Prime?
Chris Hemsworth.
Oh.
And it's interesting because Peter Cullen is the longtime voice actor of Optimus Prime, and he has an iconic voice. There have been many people who've done Optimus Prime's voice, but Peter Cullen's is the GOAT.
What does his voice sound like?
I couldn't even do it if I tried. But what I encourage people to do is to watch the original animated film.
Okay.
Which features the song from Boogie Nights. I can't remember. The Touch was originally found in the original Transformers movie. He did that voice, and he also does the voice of Optimus in the Bay movies.
Okay.
But he did not do it in this movie. So Chris Hemsworth has to like go from being bro-y Hemsworthian guy,
right,
and he becomes Optimus, and he realizes that basso profundo that you need for the character. I'd like to thank you for asking questions about this.
I don't think you mean that, because you didn't like any of my.
No, I laughed.
My exploration into the physical world of the Transformers.
As always, you are a great steward of cinema. Thank you for all that you bring to the table.
You're so welcome.
I want to know what vehicle you would transfer into. Amanda said truck. What would you choose?
It's a really good question. Sailboat.
Ooh,
that's
a good
spicy.
one.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like one of those America's Cup sailboats.
I thought you were going to say like the one from Top Gun Maverick that they're just like,
oh yeah,
that's a good one.
That would be good. I would turn into Jennifer Connelly.
Okay. But so you're starting as a Transformer, and then so is that so that's how they start. They start as Transformers, and then they become machines, and they're not machines who become Transformers.
Whatever you say.
This is important philosophical stuff. Get ready for Megalopolis.
They're all the same.
Everyone.
They're all
the
same.
Is it? It's not the same.
No, you start out as a sort of robot figure with a soul.
Okay.
And then you transform into a vehicle.
Okay.
Or
just for like getting around, or
in the case of a
horse?
Beast War, you turn into a beast.
Oh.
A robot beast.
They transform to be in disguise so that they can be on Earth without being known.
So you're
more
saying
than meets the eye.
So they
Transformers.
They start as.
That's the song.
They start as robots.
They don't get into the birthing process in the film, but I believe they're born as robots. Yes, but these robots just the race.
Do they get into the birthing process anywhere in the canon?
Only in the hardcore films. Yeah.
The fanfic.
Yeah.
Transformers fanfic birthing process.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be happening in the monologue.
There's a lot of hentai about Transformers, and octopuses.
The birth of Optimus Prime. That's beautiful.
Well, thanks for playing along. You feel good about this? This all went well? Thanks to Jack Sanders. Thanks to our producer, Bobby Wagner. Thanks to Amanda Dobbins for all she's given this show before she transforms into what?
God.
A mother of two?
A mother of two. Can you believe it?
Yeah. I wish you luck.
Raising the next generation of young men.
Teaching them about robots and things.
I'll be back. Well, I mean, I'm on the next episode.
Not only will we be back, you'll be back on Tuesday.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about Francis Ford Coppola's long gestating Megalopolis.
A lot of people were like really excited, and then they were just like, she's not. She's
who? What people?
I don't know. The people who like build Transformers on the internet and then leave comments. But that's okay, because I extended an olive branch to them in this episode, and maybe
you did.
They can extend one right back.
I'm sure that your generosity will be paid forward. Thank you. We'll see you next time.